Look who didn't go to Washington. I'm Brian Lilly with TheRebel.media. You would think that with almost the entire Trudeau cabinet in Washington for the state dinner, with his in-laws, with his mother there, that certain cabinet ministers would be there. But in a funny moment in the House of Commons on Thursday, Conservative leader Rona Ambrose pointed out that one key minister was left off the list, and it's rather telling who that is. We're talking about Natural Resources Minister James Carr.
The Prime Minister has said many times and in this House that moving Canadian resources to market is a priority for him personally and for the Government of Canada. And the best chance for that to happen is to have a credible regulatory process that unfortunately was not the case with the previous government, but is now in place to give us a result that we all want, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Well, Mr. Speaker, how important is energy to this government when the Energy Minister isn't even invited to go to Washington? I even got invited to go to Washington.
That's right, Carr answering questions from Ambrose in the House of Commons, and she pointed out even she was invited to go to Washington. Look, this is a state dinner that included Navdeep Bains, the industry minister, was there. Fine, fair enough. Harjit Sajjan, the defense minister, was there, Ralph Goodale, but Marie-Claude Bibeau, the Minister of Francophonie and the Minister in charge of foreign aid, we're not giving foreign aid to the Americans. Why was she there? Catherine McKenna, the Environment Minister, fine. There was an environment agreement signed to in Washington. Fair enough. Melanie Joly, the Heritage Minister, was there, but not the Minister in charge of natural resources. This is very telling because the Americans are our number one client for pretty much everything we make, everything we sell. And regardless of what some people think, natural resources are still a major part of the Canadian economy. You could put this down to just oil and issues like Keystone XL or other pipelines, but let's face it, James Carr is in charge of an awful lot more than just oil. He's also the minister in charge of issues like, say, lumber and the softwood lumber file, something that is an ongoing thorn in Canadian-U.S. relations. Our agreement with the Americans has expired. There isn't a new one, and it didn't appear to be on the agenda of this visit of Prime Minister Trudeau to Washington. So James Carr sitting there being mocked by Rona Ambrose is more than just a nice little chuckle. It is a telling sign from this Trudeau government that despite their claims otherwise, getting resources to market, be they, well, wood products or oil products, it's not really a priority, because if it was, he would be included on the list of dignitaries invited down to Washington and sitting down at the state dinner so that he could bend the ear of American politicians and policymakers. He could bend the ear of the top journalists from the Wall Street Journal and the Washington Post that were there. Instead, who was there? Well, we know that Margaret Trudeau, Justin's mother, was there. We also know that his in-laws went. Heck, maybe the nannies even went. But we do know that hacks and flacks like Gerald Butts, Jeremy Broadhurst, Katie Telfer, and Kate Purchase, people who are backroom types, they were invited to the dinner, but not James Carr. That tells you something. It tells you an awful lot about Justin Trudeau's priorities and looking after the Canadian economy. At least those parts that draw things from the ground or use our natural resources, they don't matter very much in his world. Definitely not nearly as much as an agreement on the environment.